And then not only that, you have women who are being told that they're at risk and they still proceed with having children. And then they end up losing their lives. And they say things like, if it's between me or the baby, save my baby. So all of that has to come into account when it comes to this conversation. It's not that we don't care about the women. Like I say, I lost my homie. She was my biggest supporter as it pertains to my music and my production career. And so, but choice matters, and we emphasize that as it pertains to women, to men, and not so much as it pertains to women. We need our women to start taking better care of themselves.
Well, just a quick question: doesn't that then go into the protection piece? What, like, we as men, we should know as much as we can also, so when the woman is having our baby, we can say, hey, maybe you should do X, Y, and Z to basically lower that rate, right? Wouldn't some of that responsibility fall on that protector, or am I missing, or am I off?
If you cherry pick it all the way up until that point, absolutely. But what do I do when my woman wants to put perm in her hair? Do I break up with her and say, well, I'm leaving you and I'm not gonna have no kids by you because you're doing this thing to yourself that may cause a problem? Nobody's gonna really move like that, right? That's what I'm saying, that we have to begin to insist that our women take better care of themselves before they even get to the table delivering the baby.
And I would say too, a lot of times women don't disclose everything about their health to their partner first and foremost. And then two, I think that with time, remember, I was born a long time ago before the internet had all this information available to you. So we didn't really know that all of these things, for whatever you trusted the world, you wouldn't think that people were trying to harm you intentionally. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you didn't think that perm is damaging. You didn't think people were putting chemicals in food. You would think like, oh, they wouldn't do that to us. Like, come on, that's nonsense. And then you get this information, you're like, dang, y'all trying to kill us? So now there's no excuse. My time, maybe there was, we're just blind to the things that were going on. But if you're in this day and time, you should know that these things are chemicals. These things are not good for you. You should not be eating certain food, and you should move accordingly for sure.
Let me say one last thing. Hey, you all know what? I just want to make one quick statement. I'm done. I promise. I'll mute up for an hour. AP, do you know what fibroids are?
I have no idea.
See, that's exactly why I wanted to say this. Neither did I, right? I'm not even sure if I had ever heard the word, right? But then I'm in a relationship, and I won't say which one because it's not my story to tell that part of it. But bro, we just hanging out. Boom, she collapses in my arms, bro.
Because she's anemic,
right? No. She collapses like, pow. No, like her life was going from my body. It felt like I'm screaming, hollering, babe, get up, babe, get up, babe, get up. I'm running to the phone. She finally wake up. I want to call the ambulance. No, I'm okay. Whole time she had fibroids. She had been bleeding nonstop for months and never told me.
Yeah, she's anemic. Right. That's that.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So to Shan's point, that a lot of times women don't disclose everything to us, bro. They keep stuff to themselves. Then what if she had died? I wouldn't know nothing. I wouldn't have no answers for nobody, bro. Like,
I was going to say something nasty. Sometimes when you having sex, and don't say it, and you hear that pain, and she's screaming, it's because you hit that fibroid.
Go ahead, Inaz.
Let me stop.
So, podcast, you just said something that I just wanted to kind of challenge your thought process on a little bit. You said it's not about being black.
I was coughing. I was not laughing.
No, that's fine. You said it wasn't about being black, but it was about the choices that black women make. I just want to ask you a series of just like really rapid fire yes or no questions, right? Do other races of women perm their hair? In general?
I would. Maybe, yeah.
In general?
When you say in general, you mean the majority of them?
Yeah.
Dye and perm,
absolutely. I would assume not because their hair is already straight. So I would say no because their hair is already straight.
Okay.
It makes their hair curly, actually.
beg to differ, though. In my
they do perm their hair, and
so in the time period in which
hold on, let Inaz finish. Let her finish.
She wasn't.
My
she
bad,
just
my
said
bad.
Yes or no. She said yes or no. Yes or no.
Y'all ain't got no kind of decorum.
Because
Go
we
ahead.
black.
Do Black people predominantly live in food deserts? Let me define food deserts. So areas where fresh produce is either difficult to find or is at a distance that is typically farther away than other neighborhoods.
I want to say no, only because I think most black people live in the South, but I'm going to go with yes, just so you can make your point.
All right. And this is the last question to make my point. I could ask more, but I'm just going to end it on this last one, right? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like most Black people are educated in the things that they should be looking out for in the first place to make informed decisions in regards to their health?
No.
Okay. So when you see all of these systematic factors that are encompassed in the Black experience, how can we say it's not a race thing when all of the decisions you're asking people to make are typically influenced because of their race in the first place?
Well, the reason why I say it's not because you're Black, because just because you're born Black does not mean that will be your experience.
That was never my claim. That was never my claim, right?
I never said that it was your claim. Yeah, I never said it was your claim. I'm just answering your question. The reason why I would say that is because just because you're born Black does not mean that will be your experience. Even if it's more likely that would be your experience, it won't be because you're born Black. It would be because of where you're born, who you're born to, the information given to you during the course of your life. It will be everything outside of the fact that you're Black.
Are all those factors not influenced by being Black? Like who you're born to, where you're born,
in general,
you're given. Like, is that not influenced by race?
Okay, so I promise you, I'm not being disingenuous. The only way I can answer that question is to say the exact same thing that I just said. So I'll ask you a question: is just because I'm born, just because I'm born Black, does that mean I will be born poor, disenfranchised, discriminated against, eating fried chicken and watermelon, perming my hair? Does just because I'm Black, does it mean that? Yes or no?
The likelihood is much higher for you.
Right, but I didn't ask you about the likelihood. See, that's what I'm saying.
But
remember, you wanted me to give you yes or no's, right?
Not on that last one. It was just all of the questions leading up to that.
Absolutely. On this one, I want a yes or no. Just because I'm born Black, does it absolutely mean that I will have to endure all of those things?
No.
Okay, so then that means it's not because you're Black, right? So you can say that this is a thing that is particular to the Black experience.
It has
right?
He's making it an absolute when you're saying a yes or no. This is what Marcus was talking about before when there's the nuance. If me being born Black, it is going to increase the likelihood of these things that Inaz is talking about. Just like you being born a Black male, you're going to be at higher risk for certain things. It's the same thing. It doesn't mean that, like you said, it doesn't mean that will be your story. But the likelihood is definitely increases when you're comparing to your different race peers.
Absolutely.
So I think that too, what's going on is perm is an elective thing. Okay, you don't have to have a perm, but if I'm not mistaken, I do believe, and maybe you're young, so in the 80s, white women did get perms because perms did the exact opposite to their hair. It made it curly with that Julia Roberts thing. It went through a phase. Now I will argue that maybe their perms have different chemicals in it than our perms, because obviously they do different things. Their job, different type of hair, different type of chemicals to do different things. So in that case, yes, it would be different. And when it comes to fresh produce, even if you go to the hood and get a tomato or anything that is a healthy stuff is in every market, is about the choices that you make when you go to the market. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I understand that, right? But even in those markets, the viability of that tomato is not the same as the one at Whole Foods.
Well, we
right?
didn't even have Whole Food then.
No, I'm just saying whatever
Right.
grocery store you want, right? Like
You can't tell mistaken that because she loves some Food Depot. I be telling her.
But what I'm saying is the tomato you get at the bodega or the corner store or wherever, right? Like that banana, that apple that you decide that you want to do that, because of them cutting costs through regular travel, it's not as fresh. You're not actually getting as much nutrients. So even if you have access to it, it's still not the same quality. That's one. Two, for most people who live in low income areas where that it even has to be a choice of, do I need to choose this or do I need to choose that? Most people would opt for the thing that's more sustainable and is going to stretch longer, which is going to be food that's junk.
Mhm.
So a lot of people are priced out of eating healthy because eating healthy has become so much more expensive. So
Mhm.
I hear the points, right? And it does make sense. People do have a right to choose. I think Marcus makes this point all the time about the movie Saw. Some people's choices are really not the same as others. And so
Absolutely.
it's choosing between bad and worse, right? And then we wag our fingers at these people and saying, you should have just chose better, you should have known better, when they don't actually have access to the resources to get these things.